When you talk about terpenes and cannabinoids being hydrocarbons, you talk about where that carbon comes from, and you talk about where that hydrogen comes from, and you talk about the splitting of H2O and the resulting hydrogen and oxygen. Where does that stuff go, right? So let's talk about the ability to split, or as you put it, depressurize water. Talk to me about this. What are plants doing to split water?
Yeah, photolysis is the idea basically that light, photo, can be used to split something. Lysis means to split. So this is where things start to get a little bit complex, because the traditional lens of looking at the operation of the oxygen evolution complex is the biochemical lens. We like to look at this from a biochemistry perspective. We say that the light energy comes into the chlorophyll, pigments, they absorb it, and light harvesting complexes, reaction centers, there's some energy that kind of builds up, if you will, right? It's not just like you have one photon that enters the chlorophyll and boom, you have this thing called charge separation that happens, right? There's some stuff that happens. There's a little bit of a charge that has to be built up. Different frequencies, if you work out Planck's equations, different frequencies carry different amounts of energy. 680 nanometers is the one that's a little bit more finely tuned towards what the actual reaction center operates on. 450 nanometer wavelength light, even though it does get absorbed by chlorophyll, that actually does not drive reaction center activity, which is kind of we can unpack that topic a little bit later. But
yeah, so real specific spectrums of light doing real specific things and processes within the plant's biology.
Yeah. So like what ends up happening is, think about it like this. You have basically like a funnel. I like to think about the light harvesting complex as like tuning forks. You ever seen how a tuning fork works? You strike it and then you don't have to have it connected to another tuning fork, but the tuning fork further away will start to vibrate and resonate. And the real question is like, well, how does that happen if there's no wires connecting them? If you're just propagating a wave through space, what's the mechanism there? And that's exactly how light harvesting complexes work. Because if you look at the chlorophyll pigments, they're not touching each other. They don't have direct orbital overlaps, right? So what they're doing is they're not passing the actual electron around. They're passing that excitation energy around.